Hey, a Folk Studio here. So, I would like to talk about IPL4 and some of the major tournaments coming up. We have the end of Season 2, we have IPL4, we have big tournaments, and I think they could be a little better. Right now, in a tournament, you will see a game, and then there will be this break where you might listen to music or nothing, and just there'll be a message saying that the ads are in progress, or that, hey, check us out at whatever time, and you can see the rest of the game. What I would love to see is something more in depth, some analysis of the game that just happened. That way you can really understand what happened, and if you see it again, you, the viewer, will know, okay, they ran the strategy before, let's see it in action, can the other team deal with it, and I'll have a good idea of how they should deal with it. The problem is, right now, there just isn't that content. Normally you'll get to the music, and the music is horrible. Like, you can have the best taste in music, you can have a million Led Zeppelin songs on your iPod, and one song being Barbie Girl by Aqua, and we'll always go to Barbie Girl by Aqua, then immediately to the WCG theme song, Beyond the Game, which is not a good song. I'm sorry, WCG, you have a crappy song. But I would just love to see this content, this extra stuff. If you look at sports like football, soccer, basketball, they do have a lot more money, but gaming is trying to get up there, and they don't let there be any dead air. They don't let us, sit around going, well, we're going to wait 20 minutes for the next game, just kind of chill around. No, they'll give us ads for sure, but they'll give us people talking about the game. They'll give us some analysis. They'll give us more as an audience. And I think that's something we need to do as a gaming community. Don't let there be this dead air. Don't let there be this time where you can just kind of wander away. Take a 5-minute break, take a 2-minute break, take these rests. But when you have an entire company coming together and making a tournament, when you have 30 people working it, try to make it so that there's never that spot where I could just go, you know what, not much is going to happen. They're not really going to show anything for the next 30 minutes. I'm just going to run to McDonald's and eat and, come right back. No, I should have to order takeout. I should have to order in. And that is just my speech on upcoming tournaments. I really hope that there is this extra content, this material for us to enjoy. And as for the game itself that we're watching, it's a pretty cool game. I didn't have a whole lot to say about it in extra, so let's just hop back into it. So last we left off, Graves was doing red. Now red is huge. It is the difference between someone getting away and someone dying. Mostly because most carries don't have a passive slow on their attacks, the exception being Ashe, but Ashe doesn't have the same mobility that Graves does, the same mobility that most AD carries do. Now, Graves with red buff at this point in the game is terrifying. He has his Infinity Edge, he's very strong, and he's going to do a lot of damage. Now, there are still a few key items that will make him stronger, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, but in this fight he's going to do quite a bit. And I don't really understand this fight from Purple side. Xerath is too low to survive anything, and they're diving into a Kog'Maw and Janna at the tower that's still alive, and they don't kill the tower, even though it's very close to dying. But unfortunately the fight starts, and it is not going well for Purple side already. When you're making these risky divey plays, you gotta make sure that you have an out. The problem Renekton and Mundo are having is, once they go in, on the way out is when they die, because they're not getting kills while they're in there. And when you have a Janna keeping people away from you, you're really not going to even have the ability to escape. So when you're playing a divey team, make sure that when you dive, you can get kills. In that case, they might have been able to, but a well-placed Janna ult, a well-placed Kog'Maw slow, and a well-done cleanse was enough to get away. Now, Graves, once again, still has that red buff, very terrifying. He's just going to go after Sivir. Sivir doesn't really have a way to defend herself. She can use her ult, but the red buff keeps her in place, and Graves has Phantom Dancer. She can use her spell shield, but that's not enough when Graves has his Q, his R, his W to break it. I've said it before, but this is just a case where Sivir doesn't have the same options that Graves does, and it's really costing her. She just cannot beat him in a fight. She has no mobility, she doesn't have reliable damage. And Blitzcrank, he can kinda help, but he's just too squishy right now. He does grab Graves. Unfortunately, the tower was not attacking him because there were still creeps in range, and he's able to finish off Sivir with the awesome blind ult. That, by the way, is good knowledge of your character when you can use it in such an unconventional way just to finish someone off. Very few people would execute Graves like that. Now, he died for that, but he actually got less gold than they did. Blitzcrank was 0.5, Sivir was 4.5, so Sivir was worth gold, Blitzcrank wasn't. So they got about 400 gold for both those characters, while Purple Side got the 439 and assist. Unfortunately, his team was not able to take advantage of that 3v5 or 3v4 going on. They could have done Baron, but Janna got picked off because Xerath is really good at killing Janna. And Blitzcrank is just having this problem where he's able to pull people in, but the enemy team is just so strong that even with a good catch, Kog'Maw amazing to catch, he just can't do anything. And the team is just melting just to the high damage coming in from blue side. Sivir has to flash away, Xerath has to flash away himself, and they just cannot survive against the Graves, Shyvana, Ahri combination, even with Kog'Maw dead. And this right here, this little exchange with Voyboy, is a great example of the trouble they're having. He's trying to go on Janna. He uses ult, he uses Ignite, she's still able to flash away, and on the way in, he got CC'd so many times from Charm, from Janna Tornado. That dash right there was interrupted. He might have caught Ahri had Janna not tornadoed. And Paradoxical is still able to come in and get a few shots on him with 200 HP. Now, I love that exchange because Voyboy, with the best Q ever, is able to take him out. Xerath was probably going to kill Graves anyways, because Graves against Xerath with 200 HP is not going to end well for Graves, but that was just Voyboy knowing the very, very max limit of his Q and taking advantage of it, so great call on that. Now, what do you do as Purple Side? You gotta get a pick, and the thing is, they really can't right now, because Paradoxical is just too strong. When they grab people, they're losing those fights. When they have someone out of position, they're losing those fights. They need to try and get someone so far away from their team that they know they'll be able to kill them on their own and not lose anything for it. In this case, it would probably be killing Paradoxical, using Sivir as bait, but unfortunately the organization from Purple Team isn't there. This is solo queue, so they don't have that consistent team effort they can use to just control the game. There is no Ventrilo, there is no Mumble, there is just, let's type and yell at each other, and maybe it'll work. Now, we're going to get into the usual phase of the game that I call Baron shenanigans. Blue side wants to set up for Baron, purple side wants to make sure blue side doesn't do Baron. So they're just going to play ward fights, you know, the usual thing. Blitzcrank's going to be going for those grabs, and if he gets those grabs, it could be good. Especially right now with Shyvana gone. But it's not going to happen. It is just a problem with a Blitzcrank against good players. They look for that hook, they look for that position you're going to be in trying to grab them. Now, unfortunately for purple side, unless blue side does something like go for Baron, they're just going to lose this exchange. Mundo and Renekton are all having trouble right now against the AP Kog'Maw, his W doing massive damage. And the longer this game goes on, the harder it's going to be for purple side. And this fight once again starts out in such a good way. Reginald is stunned and being CC'd by Mundo, but Mundo is just very low already, and that cleanse really comes into play. Xerath is actually able to do a ton of damage to Para and Reginald right there, CCing both, or hitting both of them with his ult. But the problem they're having is Xerath is the only person with that range. And right there, Para was able to just melt Voyboy. He actually ulted when he didn't need to because he did not expect him to kill Voyboy that quickly. And Xerath just cannot keep up with the HP and survivability on Para and Reginald. They just have too much HP and he doesn't have enough damage to go for these kills. It's an unfortunate consequence when you only have one person with amazing poke and amazing long range skills. If they'd had someone to follow up, this fight could have gone differently. But the fact was, only Xerath could do that range damage. And Blitzcrank, unfortunately, he is good at getting these grabs, but these grabs are coming from people who want to get grabbed because they can get kills. And that is just an unfortunate side effect of Blitzcrank. Like I said, eventually you can start getting awesome grabs, but if your team is still far behind, it might not matter. His initiation is single target and melee too, which does not help him not die. Blitzcrank definitely has some dying instantly troubles. But Reginald did die there, so Baron is actually an option now for purple side. If they get one catch too, they can do very, very well. And in this case, Ari is getting sandwiched between both Sivir and the rest of purple team. So she's going to go down. Now the question is, can purple team take advantage of this? It's a 3v5, but the three who are alive are Janna and Shyvana, as well as Graves, the people they can both protect very, very well. These are three incredibly mobile characters against a very divey team. Can purple side do it? Well, let's watch this fight go. So it starts out with Para missing his ult, and he's still able to get amazingly high damage, critting Sivir for most of her HP, or half of her HP in just 2 attacks. He's playing incredibly defensively. The second Xerath starts to ult, he gets out of there. He's flashing away from Xerath ults the second they appear, staying out of range of Voyboy, staying out of range of Mundo. Shyvana's getting killed, but that's not who really matters. Para knows that he can win this team fight. He has to stay brave and just make sure he doesn't stay in range of the enemy, but is always hitting them. He does miss his Q, but you know what? That doesn't even matter. The red buff finishes off Voyboy, and I love this right here. Blitzcrank grabs Voyboy as he dies, which sets him up to actually finish off Mundo. That was actually a good Blitzcrank grab, but it was about half a second too late. And he's able to kill Mundo, he's able to kill Sivir. Was he going to get the penta? He's at 4 out of 5 kills. One more kill and he has a penta. Janna accidentally stealing the kill with her Hawk. Just watch chat. Watch the chat. But Paradoxical was able to stay brave. He was able to stay out of range and just kind of win that fight and actually win the game with the support of just 2 teammates at the end. This was Studio. I hope you enjoyed this game. And adios, folks.